Hey, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy Opens, we're going to be taking a look at SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Thouser. Kamen Rider Thouser first appeared in the 34th Kamen Rider series, Kamen Rider 01. The series ran from 2019 to 2020 and deals with businessmen and businesses who deal in robotics, AI, and tech, and all the things that involve, like, the making of those things and how those things affect other people who use those things. He starts the show as a rival to the main character's business and eventually becomes sort of a deuteragonist, sort of like someone who goes between ally and then also rival or antagonist or whatever you want to call it, and kind of vacillates between those. He's a very full of himself type of character who is very confident in his abilities and is an expert businessman and expert manipulator. So I got this figure in a lot on eBay for a good deal with a couple of other Kamen Rider figures that I really wanted and couldn't pass up that kind of deal. Problem is they didn't come with the boxes. So this is a box I found online. SH Figuarts always does a pretty decent job with their box art, so this is no different. But we're not here to talk about the box art, so let's get this figure free. Well, actually, it's already free. Well, let's just go ahead and see what we think about Kamen Rider Thouser. All right, y'all. So fresh out the box, this figure looks amazing. Like I am just really taken with this figure. I mean, I say that a lot, but definitely with this figure is just captivating to me. Like it scratches so many itches. Not that I have a lot of itches, which is a weird thing to say on, well, really anywhere, but just it just really checks a lot of boxes for me. Maybe that's a better way to say it. I loved the design on the show, and Figuarts, as per usual, do a very good job bringing those figures to life in figure form, and this is no different here, in my opinion. This figure just looks so good and is absolutely captivating when you just like, when it catches your eye, you're just like, what is that? Like, not only just because of the paint and the colors and everything, but for me, at least, it's that basic instinct in humans where we're like, we see something that has a bunch of sharp points on it and we're a little bit like apprehensive. We're like, whoa, we need to, take caution with this thing. He definitely triggers that for me, and rightfully so, because he's got so many pointy parts on him, even some hidden ones like in his calves and on his back and stuff. Like, yeah, so more or less, this figure is dangerous one way or the other. And I kind of like that a lot because it speaks to the character himself, but also just looks really cool as a figure and a suit design. I mentioned the colors. Yeah, the gold and black and silver work so well together in tandem and in contrast with one another and gives so much dimension to this figure. But the thing that sets it apart for me are two different things. One is the subtle hints of purple throughout the costume, on his toes, well, I guess on the top of his foot, a little bitty arch on his thighs, some on his forearm, a little bit on his shoulder. There's a little part on his chest, but the biggest part are his eyes. The purple just pop and just, oh, it just looks so good with all the other colors, and it looks gaudy quite a bit, like pretty much. Like this is a figure my grandmother would probably have had because she loved gaudy jewelry, and yeah, this reminds me of her in a lot of ways, which isn't a bad thing. And then the second thing that is like so subtle in the sense of like, if on paper you wouldn't think it would make such a big difference, but it does, is that there are these little, I don't know how to describe it, but it probably is what would be effectively chainmail on like a suit of armor in, like, I don't know, antiquity or whatever, but like here it's probably like some sort of Kevlar or some sort of like mesh armor, but the way it looks on the suit, it kind of looks like mesh. That's the probably the best word I can think of. It's on a majority, actually no, it's on all of the black parts, but it's on sporadic parts of the gold. It just looks so good, and I am just very happy with this figure, and he just looks so cool and gaudy, and I absolutely love it. Kamen Rider Thouser comes with 10 interchangeable hands, the 1000 Jacker sword, an extended jack ring part, the Amazing Kakasis Progrise Ring, and the Awaking Arsenos Zet Summarize Key, the Raid Riser Belt piece, and with the lot that I got this figure with, it also included a special minifigure of this AI robotic dog from Thouser's alter ego Guy Amatsu's childhood, who's also called Thouser for some reason. And apparently this was a separate release that was put in a gashapon that you could go and get. And yeah, that's another reason why I got this figure, because it's like, oh, that's a little added bonus. But yeah, so if you get this from Figuarts or whoever, you might not get this, but I'm just putting it here because it's neat. All right, now let's take a look and see what kind of articulation we're going to get out of Kamen Rider Thouser. So starting at the head, you got 360 rotation at the neck. They can look up, not at all, and they can look down a good distance. They do have the neck joint that allows for some more articulation. And yeah, it's there's a lot of room there. So wait, maybe he can look up just a little bit. So there you go. But yeah, tons of room in there to do all kinds of stuff, which is legit. The shoulders, you got 360 rotation at the shoulder. However, the shoulder pad armor is going to probably impede that, so be careful of that. 360 rotation at the bicep. You get double jointed elbows as well. Interchangeable hands, which means 360 rotation at the wrist, as well as some wiggle room to do whatever you got to do. The chest area is on a ball joint, so you get all kinds of wiggle room there. However, this part right here and these parts back here will keep it from going too far back. The torso crotch area is also on a ball joint, so tons of wiggle room there. You got 360 rotation at the waist. Let's see if we can take a look at his split set if he wants to split. So his legs do drop down a little bit and can go in, so you can get some good split action going on there if you need to. His armor kind of impedes him a little bit more than usual, or than some of the other more modern SH Figuarts, so I don't know, maybe that could just be mine, but yeah, the split action there's not as good as some of the other ones I've seen. But you get some thigh swivel right here, which is legit. Double jointed knees, which is always good. And you get an ankle rocker, which is impeded by the armor right here, so you can't really... You can get 360 if you wanted to, probably. Maybe not. No, you'd have to really finagle that. But you do get back, or side to side, I should say, and back to front action with the ankle rocker, and you get a toe joint if you need it. And I do believe that is all the articulation that you're going to get out of Thouser. Well, Kamen Rider Thouser. According to the Kamen Rider Wiki, Kamen Rider Thouser stands around 6 foot 7 inches tall and weighs around 218 pounds. This figure stands at around 6 1/4 inches tall and weighs a little over 2 ounces. So now let's see how he measures up to some other figures you might have in your collection. Alright, here they are with Jada Toys Iceman and Jada Toys Fei Long. Here they are with the Loyal Subjects, The Rocketeer, and Hasbro's Power Rangers Lightning Collection, White Tiger Ranger. NECA's 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated series Shredder, and Figma's Samus. Here they are with Mattel's Masterverse Skeletor, and NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Return to New York, Donatello. Here they are with Hasbro's Marvel Legends Wolverine, and NECA's Alf. And here they are next to SH Figuarts 01 and Vulcan. I remember watching Kamen Rider 01, and I remember enjoying it. I definitely don't remember if I finished it, but I think that had something to do with COVID and the world ending and, you know, a lot of other things happening. But one thing that I definitely remember about this show was Kamen Rider Thouser. I absolutely loved this character and how gaudy this suit looked, and I just could not get enough of it. The actor who played the character, Guy Amatsu, just was really cool, and I remember him being like a really annoying antagonist, but also I felt like it added something to the show. Like, you know, when you have a character you don't like, but it makes you appreciate the show even more, or something like that, something along those lines. I definitely remember that. However, I absolutely remember loving this suit, this weapon, just this character and this suit design so much. And I'm so glad to have this in my collection, and I think SH Figuarts did an amazing job bringing this figure from screen to our shelves. If I'm being honest, I'm looking at an image right now on the Kamen Rider fandom wiki, and I'd make the argument that SH Figuarts did a better job making this figure look cooler than what the actual suit looks like. But that could just be a bad image that I'm looking at right now. But like, I don't know, just holding them up side by side, it could be the fact that the character, the way this image is taken, that he's slouching a little or something. He looks a little dumpy maybe, but like this figure with his arms like up a little bit, like his shoulders raised a little bit to give him like a little bit more broader chest and shoulder area, just looks menacing. And I absolutely love this suit design and this figure. So yeah, I just am very, very taken with how gaudy this is. And that could just be my own personal opinion, because gold typically is gaudy to me. It just kind of looks like fake jewelry a little bit, but Figuarts did such a good job with the different textures on this suit. It's unreal. It not only feels different, but it catches the light different and just adds this visual dynamic that really makes this figure pop in more ways than you would really think, even after like owning and like reviewing this figure, you know, extensively. I still see things that I didn't see the last time or whatever, and it's just fascinating, and I'm just a huge fan of this. The only downside is that you forget how pointy some of this figure is, especially on the legs. It's not as bad as like Kamen Rider Demons or anything like that, but it is. There are some sharp edges to it, especially in the chest area, in the back area, in the head. But like the legs will sneak up on you and you'll forget about that, and they'll get you a little bit. But other than that, he looks fantastic. And I guess it's like, I don't know, there's just something about the head sculpt and how high the spikes like protrude from the helmet, that it just kind of reminds me of Sauron from Lord of the Rings. His whole crown head gear gimmick, whatever you want to call it, just, I don't know, there's something about that. And I just really dig how gaudy and how menacing this figure looks. I remember the character having like a pretty inflated ego, and that sort of is reflected here in this suit as well. And it translates over to the action figure just the same. Now, I had a ton of fun posing this and moving it around and playing with it. However, I did have a little bit of issues with the thigh area, that articulation, because the thigh armor comes up a little bit. Now, you can drop the legs down and get around that, but when I'm in the midst of taking photos and posing and everything, I kind of forget that. And so I kind of play with it as if it's like a Hasbro or Mattel figure. And I kind of forget about that. So that I kind of ran into that issue. But if you can remember to drop the leg down, then you shouldn't have any issues with it. But still, it's just something worth mentioning. Again, I'm a huge fan of his weapon. Like, it's a sword spear kind of thing. And I don't know. I just think he looks so cool with that. I don't know. He's one of my favorite rider suits, and I just can't get enough of this figure. He looks great with all your other Kamen Rider figures from pretty much any series. He looks like he would just like show up and dominate, and has just like, I don't know, this just like coolness factor to him that I just really dig, and I don't know. I'm just a big fan. So if you're collecting SH Figuarts Kamen Rider figures, you're gonna love this figure. He'll fit right in, and no questions asked. Definitely won't disappoint. If you collect just strictly very pointy Kamen Rider figures from Figuarts, then yeah, he's definitely up there, if not one of the most, especially in the head and chest back area. Or if you have a shelf dedicated to action figures who have extremely gaudy costumes and exude Baby D energy, but that look really cool, then Kamen Rider Thouser is going to fit right in. All right, well, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. If you want to see more from me, hit subscribe and let me know all your thoughts on Kamen Rider Thouser. And until then, else time.